Welcome to Qwest Coast, a live play Pathfinder podcast. The Qwest Coast podcast is intended for mature audiences. Content warnings can be found in the episode description.
Merry Quest Thursday, everybody. I'm Blue Jay.
And I'm Bill Borneo.
I am Brick, and bricked up to talk about this Aside Qwest, this Soliloquest, this Questophany.
This quest complete.
Quest complete. GG.
Merry Questmas, everyone.
Merry Questmas to all those who celebrate.
Yeah, what are the chances Thanksgiving, Christmas Day, and New Year's Day would all be on Thursdays this year?
Is it always that way?
No.
Thanksgiving's always on a Thursday.
Right. There's just some weird alignment this year.
Well, Christmas and New Year's always fall on the same day, so it's just, you have to get that in the right cycle.
I guess that makes sense, don't it? Them being a week apart.
When's Valentine's Day? Is it also on a Thursday?
This year,
We're to find out.
I think it's on a Friday.
Dang. So people can't listen to us on Valentine's Day? What are they going to do?
I set the mood with a little Qwest Coast. Anyway, things to think about.
Stay tuned at the end of the episode for a sneak peek at what's coming up next.
For next year?
This is not the end of season 1. Far from it, in fact.
Yeah, this is the end of the Holy Harbor Heist.
And what an ending it was. What a game it was. Now that we listen back on this episode, these episodes rather, let's talk a little bit about how we felt like this came together and what we feel like are the strengths and weaknesses of this being the end of Act 1 of Season 1.
I would say there's no weaknesses per se.
Everything was perfect.
Growing pains?
So maybe some challenges or
Sure.
barriers or wedges.
Tech being one of them, right, Blue Jay?
I think it was a fairly solid product.
Yeah, I agree. Blue Jay, I think you killed it as showrunner.
Thanks, guys.
I clapped because I liked it.
Wonderfully accessible, broad strokes. Players fill in the narrative as the draw distance expands games. I think it's really good work on your part, man.
Thanks. I mean, there was a lot of nerves going first.
Yeah, which you are no stranger to. You've launched the Naito setting both times.
I guess so. Scheduling and planning ended up with just me going first, which I'm also kind of glad for because it meant that mine had dealt with all the technical issues on the front end as we.
For sure, you being worried about, yeah.
Right. I was really worried. And the first episode, we had so much mic trouble that we ended up re-recording as accurately as possible. Like, we didn't change the story or anything. Yeah. But just to get cleaner audio, we had to do a bunch of re-records. And then in the second episode, we had fixed that issue, but another mic issue took place where one of our mics, Bill Borneo.
Not to put him on blast.
No, it's not. Nothing about this is his fault.
Yeah.
It's just that his mic was the one where we were losing his dialogue. So he had to do a lot of re-records.
Yeah.
Again, not changing anything, keeping the story the same.
Yep.
But just to get a higher quality audio because we wanted to produce a high quality podcast.
And because we wanted the plot and the dialogue to be intelligible, there were times for episode 2 in particular where we'd listen back to my audio and it would be, "Are you just the fucking eldritch horror speak that will not be repeated."
We met those issues. We fixed them for later episodes.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. We added a fourth mic to pick up lines that, if for whatever reason our mics don't catch them, cuts down re-records. In addition to those technical issues with recording, I had technical issues in post. I ended up losing like 2 weeks worth of editing work.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
It was very frustrated.
Yeah.
Also, we had my PC just completely fail on us just as we were putting finishing touches on the finale. So there's that.
The edits sound good to me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the Holy Harbor Heist, it's done. Adventure wrapped. Act 1 of Season 1 completed. Let's do some talking about it. How do we think it went?
Surprisingly well. And surprising not in the sense like, oh, I thought it was going to be shit. No, surprising in the sense of how it actually played out.
Yeah.
when you think of a heist, the heist movie, a heist motif, there's certain beats you hit. And I thought that we did hit a lot of those beats, but the way that we went about doing it wasn't what I would have anticipated. There is usually the case where it's either very overt where someone smashes and brutes their way in, or there is a more underhanded way of going about doing it, like digging a tunnel or sneaking in and posing as someone who works at the bank. And we kind of did
a little bit of everything.
Yeah, we did a little bit of everything.
We did the tunnels, we did the disguises.
Yeah. But how we did it, I didn't think we would do it exactly like that, if that makes sense.
I still maintain that, like, if you had not built an explosives character, I don't know how we would have pulled that off. Obviously, going back and forth on like how I feel about Raspberry as a character and like how I played her and how she was written. And a lot of times I think, I wish I'd done more thinking. What I came up with for her in that setting made sense for her to exist as a part of the setting, but didn't necessarily carry the party contributing skill set.
I disagree with that. I think you did make a plan that relied on the explosives.
Yeah.
But I think a Slayer skills, like a rogue skills, if you guys went a different route, if you guys had different moralities, I could see your character being more of the ace, where it's like, oh, we're going to find a way to isolate High Cleric Williams. We're going to take her out and steal her key. Like that's an assassin's MO right there.
Right.
You take her out in her office or somewhere private, maybe when the bank was closed in the evening, because you guys know that she is on site at all times.
The bank is so closed in the evening, you can almost fuck guards in it.
Yeah.
Could do it in the bank.
You could do it in the bank.
You could do it in the bank. You guys agreed at some point early on, I think the second episode, we don't want to take lives over this.
Yeah. Well, he didn't.
Except Ted's.
Except Ted.
Except that's right.
Fucking Ted.
Being an assassin and then on a job where you guys don't want casualties, kind of left you at a disadvantage. Okay, so I can't kill anybody. That's the one thing I do. Well, not the one thing you do. If you were not paired up with an explosives person, if you were paired up with a ranger, a monk, anything like that, you guys may have taken more of a stealth-based approach where you get the key and then you sneak down that stairwell. You guys fully stealth through the mission, or you have a fighter and you go balls to the wall and you just
kick the door in.
You kill everybody.
Yeah.
There are multiple ways you guys could have gone about it. I think because you guys chose non-casualty, explosives forward in your planning, that it ended up being like, okay, like my assassin skills aren't quite needed.
Yeah. I would not struggle to say that like what came together was good. I think it definitely was. I see what you're saying definitely, but I also think like, I don't know that I would call it like exactly a utility restriction or a narrative restriction. But a character whose like mechanics were already like on the back foot, with I as a writer who was like on the back foot coming up with the character. You know, that for me is where I'm like, oh, I think there's some like recognizable weakness there, such that it is offset by Boomer's ability to like, oh yeah, no, I can plant the bombs and disappear into the shadows in front of the people digging out the rubble.
Behind the backs of.
But like still in like in a 15-foot range of each other.
Yeah, you roll a crazy high stealth.
Yeah, that was insane. That was like a make or break roll. That was nuts.
It helps to be small and angular for that. But I'm also going to agree to disagree about the functionality of Raspberry, and here's why. And I'm going to yap for a few minutes.
Here we go. Another Bill Yap session on Qwest Coast. Anyway.
Qwest Coast. Host. Thank you. So if we look at a heist, there's a few different beats like that we hit, right? There's the planning. There's the surveillance to get a better understanding of how to get in. There's the entry. There's the breaking in of and the retrieving of the goods. There is ferrying and shepherding it out. And then there's the success that pay off the profit.
Yeah.
And usually along the way, there's certain beats that we play. Like if you look at, for example, like the Italian Job or Ocean's 11, there's usually some point where someone is going to go in disguise to map out things.
Yeah.
Oftentimes there'll be a pair doing that.
Yeah.
So when I look at what we executed, who was the one who was quote unquote masterminding it? I guess technically it was
the fixer, right?
The fixer.
Yeah.
And well, there's many discussions to be had about the fixer later on.
Yeah, pretty big reveal of the fixer in this episode.
Yes. But okay, so then after that, we need to get some additional surveillance because the fixer doesn't have that. So who
allegedly doesn't have it?
And so who goes and maps that out? Raspberry.
Kind of, yeah.
From that, we're able to then determine the best way to go about getting in there.
Yep.
Together, we recruit an additional person as part of the job. And then that person does that part. And then I do a little disguise work as well.
What was that name one more time?
Alfred Dimesworth.
Alfred Dimesworth?
Albert.
Dimesworth, rather.
Albert Dimesworth. Very original. Very original. And then after I do additional surveillance work, we create a distraction.
Yeah.
And then we both go in and we both sell the deceit to retrieve the goods.
Right. Oh, and that's something else I wanted to talk about at some point.
Yeah.
Is we invoke Counselor Claiborne. And there is no background structure for why that name should matter to anyone who hears it.
Ooh, yes.
Some quick UIA lore. The UIA's like top leadership structure as like the 4 counselors were just like called counselors. And then those 4 counselors answered to the high counselor, Counselor Claiborne. And the loose lore on Counselor Claiborne is that this was the guy who laid the foundation for the UIA during the end of Beaumont's occupation. It's like once Beaumont was defeated, the power that took over in Tetris Harbor first, and then Rainisia broadly after, that was not the crown because the crown did not exist anymore. He was the guy at like the head of it more or less. Anyway, we were saying about the bank game.
So anyways, we both finesse the key from Robin Williams. And then...
High Cleric Robin Williams.
Yes.
William Robbins.
HCR dub. And then after that, that's where the booming kind of really gets in.
Yeah.
The booming is flashy, but that's really where the explosions kind of make a difference. It seals it off and whatnot. It is very good that we had it at that time.
Yeah. But then you also face Tank the Inevitable.
We both did the inevitable because you got me out of the pinch. We didn't use explosives to get into the vault. And then who is responsible for us being able to actually get the gold out?
I mean, I think like with ropes and pulleys, we could have done that. Like it would have taken longer.
Right.
Your levitate spell definitely saved the day, got you both out of danger relatively.
However, acknowledging that we used levitate wrong is another thing we got to talk about.
Yeah, but you didn't use it wrong to save me from getting mollywopped.
That's true. You as an object by yourself, that was not right.
Or to lift yourself.
To lift myself, yeah. But the way we use it to like, oh, it's like 48 seconds or like 54 seconds of like moving golden barrels like that. We definitely flubbed the levitate rules there a little bit. Or at least I did anyway.
So we casted it for more minutes. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. Abadar's Gold has a special enchantment that makes it easier to handle. Do you think Smee's gonna fucking lug those around all day? Come on now.
Whoa. These are heavy.
The point being that I think the boomer had a little more flashiness just by the nature of the bombs. But to say that, oh, I don't know how we could have done that without the boomer. I don't know how we could have did it without Raspberry, because Raspberry, I think, played an equally important part. It was just quieter, but it was still essential.
I don't know. I guess time will tell. And I guess our audience will tell us as they parse through it themselves.
One thing about Raspberry being on the job is it also changed kind of the direction I was going with the Fixer.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned this.
The big reveal of this episode is that the Fixer, his mask is basically creating an illusion, and under the illusion is one of 12's sisters, 15.
Yeah.
This character I've actually been planning for a while. I think in the last Aside Qwest, we talked a little bit about Timberwood, how I was...
It was since 19, yeah.
Since 19 was introduced, and I was kind of laying in roots for campaign with Timberwood, and I was already creating the setting of Tetris Harbor. And so 15, I was already kind of like wrangling as a character concept to bring her in as a foil to 19. During that adventure, you said that her sisters have already attempted assassinations on her since she left. And so I was like, oh, like this 15, she's going to be the one that's tracking 19. Like that, she's the one that's like obsessed with raising her rank within the matriarchy. Yeah. So she's taking out higher numbers.
A great call, by the way. I think it was a great choice.
Yeah, it was easy to pull from. The adventure behind the adventure, why this whole heist even happened.
Yeah, go for it.
Speak from your heart.
Put 15 on the map.
So 15 is tracking 19, obsessed with raising her status by killing a higher number. Therefore, everyone under 19 ascends.
Yeah. Specifically because in this brood of 20, it turns out that 20 of 20 is the golden special child.
Right. So by taking out 19, everyone under 20 would then essentially go up in rank.
Because that's how math works.
That's how math works.
That's how drought culture operates.
So she's tracked down 19 to this human city, the human capital of Tedros Harbor.
Yeah.
She doesn't know anyone. She has no leads. She just knows that somewhere in this sprawling metropolis is 19. And she is looking for leads. She's looking for clues. She becomes entangled with a human starting his own thieves guild named Heinrich.
Mm.
And Heinrich says, well, drows aren't very common. I may have information on the person you're seeking, but hey, if you do this job for me, if you help me out, I'll give you some information and I'll have my ears out there getting more information for you.
Yeah.
And so they kind of form this partnership where they're doing jobs and he's kind of feeding her some information, like some breadcrumbs, but not enough to locate 19. And so she keeps working with him until it's discovered that Heinrich doesn't actually know anything about 19. And all the information, all of the messages or whatever information he's providing her has all been bullshit.
Smoke and mirrors.
She's very skilled. So as you said, 12 skills and 19 skills, they kind of came up as assassins. They have some magical powers. 12 has a very early line, I think in the first episode, saying, your kind is not
Known for being trustworthy.
known for being trustworthy. And she says, oh, trust me, we're not.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like when we find Henry for the first time, and Henry's like, no, there was no one here except like a drow.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, yeah, I'm here now, obviously. Like, I'm just so stupid.
I think I immediately followed that line up with a joke or something.
Yeah.
Moved on from that really quickly, which I'm glad that you guys didn't catch on because I think it plays better that you guys didn't find out until the end.
I agree. Yeah.
So anyway, so 15 teams up with Heinrich, right? They're doing jobs. She finds out Heinrich's screwing her over and she wants revenge on Heinrich. So right now, her overall plan is I need to find 19 and I need to kill her. And then I can return home as a higher ranking person,
Yeah.
right? Maybe even skipping over 16, right? Because I'm the one that killed 19.
Yeah.
Her immediate issue is that there's this human who's taking advantage of her, screwing her over. I'm going to get revenge on this guy because fuck this guy.
Yeah.
And so the Capitol Guard, who is underfunded, understaffed,
Yeah.
they're looking for any win they can get. So here comes this drow saying, hey, I can give you this Thieves Guild. I can get you them red-handed with freshly stolen gold. What I need you to do is lay off this bank for 24 hours.
Right.
So she's coming up with this plan. Her next goal is like, okay, well, I need people to pull this job off without directly getting involved. So I need to find 2 people of known reputation that can get this job done, who have the qualified skills, and it needs to be fast, and they cannot be associated with any other Thieves Guild because there might be some solidarity there. They might be connected to the Purse Snatcher Thieves Guild in some way.
Right.
So I need to find individual agents.
Yeah.
That have no attachments, but have the skills necessary to do this. And so she looks around, she asks around, she finds 2 names, Raspberry. She probably finds more than 2 names. So she finds Raspberry and she finds the Boomer, thinks that, oh, that's the most qualified candidates to get this done.
Right.
And then in doing so, in her research, she was scouting you guys out. She finds out that Raspberry is none other than one of her sisters, 12. So this is news to her. Like this, she was not planning this, but she was already planning to ask you to do this job. And so now she has this conflicting thing where it's like, oh, like this is my sister, but it's a lower number. So I'm not necessarily have to kill her. I wasn't really expecting this. It's a surprise to me. I don't know what to do with that information.
Yeah.
Maybe she knows where 19 is. Maybe she doesn't. I don't know if I should approach her about this or if I should just use her to get revenge on Heinrich. So that's kind of where that takes place. Boomer already has a history of taking down UIA ships and has explosives. He's got the skills. It's just an obvious choice. You're going to rob a bank. You're going to need an explosive expert. So she recruits you two to pull off this job. But then as the job goes on, she has this kind of solo scene with Raspberry. She has a solo scene with Boomer. And I really like those solo scenes because you can tell when she's alone with Raspberry, the demeanor is very different.
Yeah. How much hand holding do you need, Raspberry?
She's beginning to think about what is her actual goal. Giving up on this whole Heinrich thing. Like, I really don't care about Heinrich anymore. Where is 19?
Yeah.
Because that's what I came here for. And I've lost sight of that.
She did get that Heinrich objective fulfilled.
That's true.
She didn't go home empty-handed, which I can't say for either of our characters.
Her immediate goal was met, but she kind of didn't force it anymore. She said, like, take the gold, take it wherever you want. I don't care. Where's 19? And then I give you guys the option, I think, in this episode. I'm like, you guys are in the cart. You have the bison. You have the gold.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you guys want to go? You guys don't have to go to the Thieves Guild.
Right. Okay, let's go to the Thieves Guild.
Let's go to the Thieves Guild.
And so 15 set up this sting operation to catch Heinrich.
Yeah.
I tried to be subtle and yet kind of support this. Like Heinrich, I think the first thing I say is he's pro-human, but he's more importantly, he's anti-drow.
Jimmy, get the cheap shit is going to live in my head rent-free for a long time.
So like he goes into your establishment and pulls your clients basically that work for him out of your establishment.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want them associating with drow. So it's like he's got this mistrust of drow, and it's because he has screwed one over and he doesn't know if she's going to come back for him or not.
Yeah. Did the plot always look this way, or if it changed, where and how did it change?
From the beginning, it was 15.
Okay.
Since you told me you were playing 12, that's when I was like, oh, the Fixer is 15. The Fixer's mask is kind of like the Red Hood, like it's an illusion spell. Anyone that wears this mask takes on this visage of this exact human, and so anyone could be the Fixer.
It's pretty good.
The way she got the Archbishop's key is the same way Raspberry would have. It was just a seduction thing. She stole it overnight.
Damn.
Played me like a fiddle.
One kind of hole in the Fixer story, in 15's story, when you're asking about the distraction plan, and she has to come up with one because there isn't one, right? Like she's teamed up with the Capitol Guard to catch Heinrich Steve's Guild, the Purse Snatchers.
Right.
So when you're like, oh, like tell me what the plan is, or I'm going to end this immediately. She has to come up with something. She steals Boomer's MO. I don't know if anyone caught that. Just like, oh yeah, there's a team creating a distraction down at the docks to keep the Capitol Guard busy. And it's like, that's not where the Capitol Guard has jurisdiction. The UIA has strict control over the marina and the harbor.
Oh, no, I did not catch that.
I didn't catch that at all.
It's a very minor thing, but she's spinning her wheels and just coming up with something. And most lies are based on truth. I'm just going to take what the Boomer does. That's what they're doing. That's the distraction.
Damn, that's good. Yeah, I definitely did not call that at all.
Did an Uno reverse on us. Some bitch.
That's 15. And hopefully that makes the ending and everything that happened a little more clear.
Yeah.
Very much so.
I wonder what 12 said to 15 at the end.
You never told us.
And I still won't. Guess along at home what you think the sisters may have said to each other before they split.
I know what 12 said.
Did I tell you?
The location of 19.
What I'm still curious about, how did 15 find Raspberry and the Boomer, given that I feel like both of them made it a point to not be easily
Identifiable.
Yes.
Even though she was trying to put this together as fast as possible, she did research and somehow found you. I don't think it was easy, but I think that made you more desirable to her because she wanted people who were not affiliated with the Thieves Guild or anything.
Where do you think you can safely draw the line between what is a broad strokes DM feel to like get the game growing versus like what is enshrining player agency? How did this character get to know our identities when like our identities is like something our characters protected?
I see.
In terms of like how the game played out, that is not necessarily like an element worth interrogating, but because it was used as a catalyst to get the game going, you know, we do kind of like, I don't want to say brush past it, but like we did kind of take for granted that like, oh no, this is the intro. Now we're going from here.
Right. Yeah, I think I just really needed a way to get the game started. I had already sent the letter that I read in that episode is the same letter I gave you guys as a prompt.
Yeah,
to
good
make
intro,
characters.
by the way.
I already knew your characters were going to get these letters. I didn't know exactly how. As we've talked in these Aside Quests and we got to know Boomer a little bit better, knowing that he was at the docks too, like just makes it so much better. Because he's like at the docks reading a paper. I was like, oh, he's like either about to sink another ship or he's scouting out the next ship he's going to sink.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I get why he's there now. Before, I thought it was just like a little backdrop. He's, you know, eating a sandwich, reading the paper by the sea. But like, he's like, no, he's working.
I really like the stuff with the cat in the alley. Really great slice of life stuff that I think is like chef's kiss. That's that lived in stuff that like fills in the darker corners of a canvas. I think you did a good job at that.
It really brings the adventure to life.
So I don't know if I answered your question, Bill. I think it was me giving you guys a letter and kind of revealing your identities was just a way to get you into the adventure.
Yeah.
Maybe I could have handled that better.
No. I'm just curious if you had planned that out really meticulously, or if it was just like, nah, it was hard, but they found out and here we go.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I mean, I think it would be a little bit arrogant to be like, it's impossible for anyone to know the Boomer's identity.
He's constantly casting disguise self every 80 minutes.
Yes. But even then, someone's just like, yeah, I just tracked down the poof that happens every 80 minutes, and eventually.
The short figure's always here at the docks right before a ship sinks.
Yeah, what is that correlation? That's weird, right?
You need to stop buying tuna sandwiches.
You don't know if the letter he gave you, or she gave you, rather, you don't know if that letter was the only letter she handed out. She could be handing out to anyone at the docks, hoping that one of them is the boomer.
That's a good point.
Granted, it does have the meaning, location, and time, so that would be a really dumb thing to do.
That's true, though. Would have been funny if just a random person
Came to the crossings and was like, hello, I got a letter about a job.
Is this the fellowship meet?
I'd rather get hired that way than like having to go through Indeed.
Maybe she was giving the letter to a bunch of people, watching their reaction, and then like if they seemed surprised at all, she would just like slit
Take
their
them out.
throats.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Wrong person.
Yeah. Crime is on the rise, right? That
Yeah.
could have been an element of it.
Throw them straight into the water.
Right.
You know what? I think that's what he was reading in the paper that day, was that there was a lot of harbor
Throat
death.
slitting on the rise.
Ships blowing up at harbor desks. Connected?
Tetros Harbor choked up in murder spree.
One thing I've been very curious about is like all the little pitfalls that we somehow just lucked out of in the bank. I remember
yeah.
in passing, you had mentioned that High Cleric Williams's room would have been quite the location to visit.
Yeah.
There's a zone of truth in her room that compels you to tell the truth. But there's also another inevitable, a smaller one. I believe they're called arbiters. Just this little eyeball thing that can turn invisible that she basically has as like a familiar or a pet, or it's another security thing.
Like a magical flashlight.
Yeah, and it can see through illusions. So that would have been an instant catch for our UIA boomer. And the first thing she said was like, oh, let's go talk in my office, because there people have to tell the truth. She can see through illusions.
Right.
She already kind of waves you off. Okay, yeah, we'll raise security. Like, that's fine. Like, we don't need your help otherwise. But then the bomb goes off and she's like, oh, okay, like now there's no time. The information you brought me was correct. So I have to assume that you're legitimate because now there's no time to waste. Like, something is happening.
Yeah.
And you were trying to warn her about it. So it's like you've kind of already built in a trust.
Phew.
I don't know what we would have done with that one.
Yeah.
With our pants down, I could explain.
And then what I thought was a really great idea, but then kind of didn't know, I guess, what to do with it. So I don't know if the execution came across very well. These spinning vault doors. That was a shell game. Basically, there was one door that would lead you to the right vault, and then there were two fakes. So they spin around, so you can't tell which is which.
Yeah.
You guys ended up switching the
Order
order in which you put the keys in, and that ended up working.
That's supposed to be like the prevailing wisdom, right? Is that like you can create a puzzle, and like you can have a solution, but like whatever the players come up with, you know, in as much as it like is cool or works, that's not the solution to the puzzle.
Either way, like it worked out. You guys got in and the story continued. I was just like, oh, was this even interesting? Or was this just a minor annoyance?
I think it was the right way to keep us going, but not overly escalate. Because like the automaton is like the maximum escalation point.
Yeah.
But like coming out of the explosion, you going shadow form, us getting back in, doing everything with like getting ready with the barrels and all that nonsense. The spinning doors being one more obstacle with the keyhole puzzle, I think was the right way to keep us going.
And the idea too was that it would, you know, if it took you multiple rotations to get into the main vault, then it would give the clerics time to get down into the basement and figure out what you're doing.
Exactly.
I wasn't expecting not just one cave in, but two.
Yeah.
Trapping people inside, and that being the only entrance, as stated, the only way in, other than your guys' tunnel, which they don't know about yet. As for the two empty vaults, those were mimics. You guys never step inside. You guys peer in because you have dark vision. Absolutely 100%. Those were giant mimics. And so those would have been also fights. You guys avoid fights with the clerics. I know there's only one combat encounter, but there could have been more. But it's also, you know, your guys' approach. You guys were trying to avoid direct death of the clerics, to avoid conflict, and you guys succeeded. So I think one of the people were like, oh, for this D&D game, this Pathfinder game, this tabletop RPG game, there sure isn't a lot of combat until like the final episode in the end. And it's just because, well, that's the decision they made, was to go as quietly as possible until that was no longer an option.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a mostly stealth playthrough. Look, I can't take on a horde of clerics if I start killing one of them. I can't resist a city guard and a united cleric front if they catch me in the vaults. You know, we had to keep it as like simmering as possible until it was the only option was to boil over the side.
And certainly, and this is another element that we haven't really discussed, the fact that this was very much so a Greek play in the sense that this all happens within
18 hours.
Yeah, less than a day. Like if there was one other day to plan, infinitely a lot more things we could have explored or tried,
Right.
but there's a urgency there where
They get the job and then they get to work.
exactly.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of precision that was mandated, and I don't think we had the finest touch to it, but it was fine enough to do a damn good job nonetheless.
Yeah. And like we said in the last talk back, boy, did we spend time talking about how to pull this thing off. Is there anything we didn't get to do that you really wanted to do?
No, as I said in the previous Aside Qwest, either the first or second one, I had 2 NPCs made, and that was the Fixer and High Cleric Williams. And I didn't have any plan for how you guys were going to rob the bank, as to your frustration with the Fixer that he had no idea how you all were going to rob the bank.
Yeah. 12 didn't love that.
But no, I love what you guys came up with, and I'm glad that I didn't have, okay, Act 2, they're going to do this, or they're going to encounter this. Like, I like that I created the bank enough where it had defenses and systems, and whether you circumvented knowingly or not, it was really entertaining for me as a DM to see what you came up with, and I wouldn't have changed any of that.
It's a good game.
GG.
It was a good game, man.
Well, I'm excited for what happens next.
Yeah, what are we doing next, Bill?
Well, if you get on board, we're going to take a trip down south and hopefully have some fun along the way.
Doot doot.
Qwest Coast!
Flash his ticket.
How are you not going to recognize a fellow union hand?
Oh, girl, you son of a bitch.
I've heard these trains are transporting gold.
You're in for a fun and bumpy ride. It feels like somebody is following you.
Keep a winter out for the dainty girl with the yellow corn hair.
Is she some sort of troublemaker?
Has been in the past.
You should really keep your hands to yourself if you want to keep them.
I'm Grohl, Thunderhand.
Duchess Danger.
There you are.
Here I am. That's a damn shame.
So I hear you like trains. Chugga chugga choo choo on Qwest Coast, y'all.
Duchess Danger and Grohl Thunderhand in the...
Rich is derailed.
That's coming up next. This has been Aside Qwest 3. I've been Brick Chimneys.
I'm still Bill Borneo for a few minutes.
And I am Blue Jay until the end of the sentence.
And we'll catch you next time on the Qwest Coast.
Oh, and I guess happy holidays.
Merry Qwestmas, y'all.
Wavy jibby.
See you next year.
See you next year.
Stay tuned because we're not going to do jack shit.
Stay tuned because we're going to drink some eggnog and swear at each other some more.
Yes.
Fuck you, Bill.
Just like every year.
I say fuck me, Bill, all the time.